Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Charlie Parr is here in the Roadhouse.
Thanks.
Are you ready for the year of Jubilee? You ready? Are you ready? What it's bound to be. Are you ready to be reunited with your mother and your son? You ready? Are you ready for Jubilee to come? Are you ready to leave your desk behind and work out on the land? Accept your little paycheck from a farmer's calloused hand. Ready to turn in a key to your mansion and your life. Share the excess of your wealth and all that you have got. Are you ready? Are you ready for the year of Jubilee? Are you ready? Are you ready? It's bound to be. Are you ready to be reunited with your mother and your son? You ready? Are you ready for Jubilee to come? When you move on to that hill, gaze down upon them as strangers often will. Ready to make decisions that'll surely cost a life. You can turn your back on them all as the children and wife. Are you ready? Are you ready for the year of Jubilee? You ready? Are you ready? It's bound to be. Are you ready to be reunited with your mother and your son? Ready? Are you ready for Jubilee to come? Share now and share around all the rest. Make sure that none go hungry. I have no place to rest. We knock down all the highs, stop filling all the lows. Put your pack upon your back as here Jubilee. Are you ready? Are you ready for the year of Jubilee? You ready? Are you ready? It's bound to be. Are you ready to be reunited with your mother and your son? Are you ready? Are you ready for Jubilee to come? Are you ready? Are you ready for the year of Jubilee? Are you ready? What's bound to be? Are you ready to be reunited with your mother and your son? Ready? Are you ready for Jubilee to come? Are you ready? Are you ready for Jubilee to come? Jubilee. Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel in the lion's den. Well, now is needed time. Now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Promised to answer prayer. He promised to answer prayer. He promised to answer prayer. And now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Sent an angel down. Lord, he sent an angel down. Lord, he sent an angel down. Now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Lion's jaws, angel like the lion's jaws, angel like the lion's jaws. Yeah, now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Jesus, won't you come by here? Jesus, won't you come by here? Jesus, won't you come by here? Now is the needed time. Now is the needed time. Now is the needed time.
Charlie Parr is here in the Roadhouse, Daniel in the Lion's Den, and Jubilee, and here we are on a morning after your Seattle show, bright and early.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm awfully happy to be here.
Last time I saw you and met you was at another kind of a weary hour down at Pickathon in Portland. You were playing on the Starlight stage under the moon after midnight, and it was freezing.
It was pretty cold, yeah, but it was amazing. It was fun.
Yeah, you were remarking about how late it was for you.
It was really late for me. I was all amped up on yerba mate. but nowadays I go to if I'm allowed to, I'll go to bed at 7:38 in the evening and then just get up at 2 in the morning. So I would have been up anyway. But
yeah, well, that show really blew me away, and it really spawned me to get you here on the show, and it was great to have you.
I appreciate that.
The new album is called Keep Your Hand on the Plow.
Mm-hmm.
And is that a self-release, or is there a label associated with that?
It's released on a small label called the House of Mercy Records, which is actually independent church in St. Paul, Minnesota. They also run a record label.
Cool.
And it's good friends of mine. I don't really go to a lot of church, but I play down at their church every once in a while, and they put out the records for these last two that I've done like this that are traditional tunes and not my own. They've released them for me.
Yeah, and it's a collection of gospel songs.
Mostly, yeah.
And what a wealth of material, right? I mean, you can just say gospel alone, but then just you play a lot of traditional music, and Can you comment on what a wealth of material there is out there for people to draw from?
It's amazing. Well, when I was young, my music experience kind of started and kind of continues with my dad's record collection, which was pretty, it wasn't huge, but it was deep, and a lot of the songs that are on that, come from those old kind of Smithsonian collections and the odd Lomax style field recordings and stuff like that, and yeah, so that there's just once you start dipping your hand into that well, you realize how deep it is, and friends of mine like Mike Gangloff from the Black Twig Pickers, drives around the mountains out in Southwest Virginia and West Virginia and North Carolina, and talks to these old guys, these old fiddle players, and learns their songs or their way to play, or clawhammer banjo players, and that kind of the idea that of the folk process that Pete Seeger talked about is real. That it's still going on, and that well is just as deep as it ever was, if not deeper.
Yeah.
And so I felt pretty lucky to be able to have at my kind of fingertips such a huge amount of material to choose from.
Yeah, and the Black Twig Pickers, another great band that we love as well, and you've played with them and made an album with them. Also, on this latest one, you played with some of your neighbors, I guess, in Duluth, Minnesota, Low, and
Yep.
and there's also your wife is on the album.
Yep, Emily's on there, and a couple of friends of ours, 4 Mile Portage, which is a folk duo from Duluth. They play clawhammer banjo and fiddle. They do mostly kind of square dance style stuff. Great folks.
Mm-hmm. And you have a real nice national resonator guitar you played on both those songs.
Yeah, I love this thing. It's the steel-bodied single-cone version of it. But I've had this guitar. I sold the wooden guitar that I had in 1999, so I could afford to buy this, and I had nothing else for a long time. And it was all the guitar I ever needed. Now I've got a couple other things, but
Yeah.
it spoiled me.
Sounds great. I'm always reminded of Ry Cooder's Paris, Texas. That was kind of my first introduction to that instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I always think about that when I hear that guitar.
Oh, nice.
Sounds beautiful.
Oh, yeah, I love them. Thanks.
Who are some of your favorite players of all time?
Oh, boy. That's another kind of deep list. I guess Mance Lipscomb is one of my all-time favorite guitar players, Texas guitar player. Also, some of the older guys like Charlie Patton and Blind Lemon Jefferson, and guys that I can't begin to try to play like, but just listen to constantly, and more contemporary folks like Dave Van Ronk and Spider John Kerner, still, one of my heroes, and Dave Ray, John Fahey, Peter Lang and Leo Kottke and those guys. The list is long. Blind Willie Johnson,
Yeah.
Mostly kind of, old dead guys, but I like them all.
Yeah, and you mentioned Spider John. When I spoke to you at Pickathon, there was one song that I just had to know what it was, and I think I asked you what it was, and it's the Spider John. Well, his version is the one that you, I guess, take from, and you played it. It's called First Upon This Country.
Right. It's an Irish immigrant song, according to what John knows about it. And I learned it from watching him. I go down to the Viking Bar on the West Bank of Minneapolis every Sunday night, and sometimes there'd be 4 people in there, but there'd be Spider John Kerner, and playing songs like that, and all kinds of old songs that I got to learn from just sitting there watching him play. I've been lucky. I've gotten to actually, play some shows with him, and it's an honor of my life,
Can you play that song now?
I can. I just have to get this other guitar. So this is When First Under This Country.
When first unto this country, stranger I came, I courted a fair maiden, Nancy was her name. I courted her for love I didn't obtain. You think there's any reason or right to complain? road day and night. I rode to see my Nancy, my own heart's true delight. I rode to see my Nancy and I rode both night and day. I spied a stallion, both white looking and gray. Well, the sheriff's men had followed and overtaken me, and they carted me away to the penitentiary. Opened up the door and then they threw me in, and they shaved off my head and cleared away my chin. And they beat me and they banged me and they fed me on dry beans, till I wished to my own soul I had never been a thief. Hands in my pockets and my caps the concept bold, in my coat of many colors like Joseph Rowe. First unto this country a stranger I came, and I courted a fair maiden, Nancy was her name.
First song to this country as done by Charlie Parr. Charlie's here in the Roadhouse. That song's on his new album, Keep Your Hand on the Plow. Great to have you here, Charlie.
Thank you.
You know, I saw you at Pickathon last year, and I had been playing your records before on the show before that, but then I saw you, and I was hanging out down there in the beer garden, and I heard a bunch of hollering in the Galaxy barn over there across the way, and I said to someone, "Who is that playing over there?" And that's Charlie Parr. Do you have some hollering songs?
I've got a few odd hollering songs. Yeah, Pickathon was amazingly fun, and it's been, I've been lucky. There's always been a good amount of people coming out to holler. I love that.
Yeah. So you're from Duluth, Minnesota, and you're originally from a town called Austin, Minnesota.
Right. Austin is south of Duluth, about 4 hours. It's at the southern edge of the state, near the Iowa state line. And I was born and raised there, and left there in the 80s and spent a little time in Minneapolis, but I can't get with the city, so I moved on to Duluth.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned your father earlier, and he passed away, I think, in 1995, right? And then that kind of, I guess, motivated you and kind of inspired you to start writing some songs and your own songs.
Yeah, I didn't deal with the grief very well. I haven't yet. But one of the ways that I felt like I could make it better was to, I made up songs. The thing that Dad and I shared was music, and he got me my first guitar when I was 7. He had 2 Johnson outboard boat motors. He had a 25 and a 9.9. The 9.9 was a far superior motor. It was good for trolling, but he traded it for an older Gibson B25 12-string, and he gave that to me, and he said, that was a good boat motor. You'd better learn how to play this guitar.
Yeah.
And so I really worked at it, and of course he had to get a steel plate for the 25 so he could troll with it, and I'd play songs and he'd sing, and so when he passed away, I started writing, and initially just kind of to get out my grief, but then I started writing kind of about him. Some of my first songs, like 1922 Blues and stuff, were written just kind of about stuff he told me. So it was like writing down what he said and setting it to music in a way, more kind of visceral than that, because it was just like vomiting, But and it's kind of continued that way. Every record's kind of ended up with songs that have something to do with what he left me with.
What do you have planned coming up for this year? You're going to be out there on the road quite a bit, and I know you have some other projects with Alan Sparhawk from Low and some other people. Can you fill us in?
I'm looking forward to this year. I'm heading after this tour. I go to Ireland. I'm playing at the Kilkenny Roots Festival and some other shows around Ireland. I start working on a new record. Alan and I have talked about doing some recording together. The Black Eyed Snakes and me, basically, it would be. And then my new record, I'll start recording it in May and hopefully have it done for release sometime in the fall. Back to Europe probably this fall. I've got plans to go to Australia to play in a festival this fall. So yeah, a lot of traveling this summer. When Emily is a school teacher, when she gets out for the summer, we'll hit the road together again with the kids, and we'll be back out in Portland anyway in July for a festival in Willamina and some other shows, and hopefully be able to come back here and play a little bit in Seattle. But
it sounds like things are good for Charlie Parr in terms of music.
Things are great. I've been very, very lucky. I've been in the right place at the right time, far too many times, but it's been amazing being able to just, bum around and play the guitar. I can't complain.
Well, we love your sound.
Thank you.
And it's great to have you here, Charlie Parr. How about one more song? This is another one off of the new album, Keep Your Hand on the Plow. Charlie Parr in the Roadhouse. It's good to have you here.
Well,
How about one more song, if you wouldn't mind?
Sure thing. I'll do something a little slower, I guess, since I got this thing.
Irish walked all the way from the cross. Missed his train, picked up a little dog. Finally made it down the banks, old man. Snow is coming, you can see the cold hanging in the air, hanging in the air. Hang the lines in the trees about there now. Stretch our top from the corner in the air. In the hole in the pasture, never mind. Build us a fire and a place light now. Lord, give us light. With his blanket around his face like a shawl, he made it down the rail with his dog, and he touched the kids for some cash. He fished his dinner out the trash, he said. Hang the lines in the trees about there now. Stretch our top from the corner in the air. Dig me a hole in the pasture, never mind. Build us a fire and a pitch light now. Lord, give us light. Now he made camp about 3 a.m. Stared the fire down with some friends. Shared around the little bit they had. Swept off the haze throughout the day. With his head on his duffel bag. Hang the lines in the trees about there now. Stretch our top from the corner in the air. Dig me a hole in the pasture, never mind. Build us fire and a place, give us light now. Lord, give us light. We all live in the very same place. When he woke up, it was the same day. And he built up the fire and he sat down to wait. Just like today. Hang the lines in the trees about there now. Stretch our top from the corner in the air. Dig me a hole in the pasture, never mind. Build us a fire to pitch, give us light now. Lord, give us light.
Charlie Parr, the album's Keep Your Hand on the Plow. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you very much for having me, Greg. I appreciate it.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?